Well, a collective sigh of relief from Middle Australia this week with the Reserve Bank giving interest rate relief. Joining me live is Lloyd Edge, property buyer's agent and author of Positively Geared. Good to have you on the program. How will lower interest rates impact prices amid what is really a housing shortage, and it's been labelled a crisis for a number of years now?
Yes, morning, Tim. Essentially, when rates start coming down, that increases people's borrowing capacity. So people will be able to borrow a little bit more money. It'll help them get into the market. But that's also going to potentially fuel the market to start moving forward as well. So I think my advice for people would be to see their mortgage broker, try to get their pre-approval in place and try to jump in before there's too many more rate cuts. Because as we move forward, I think the markets are going to have quite a bit of steam in them this year.
Well, people will be more confident to spend a little bit more money, won't they? That's the basic line out of all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so people do have more confidence, and although there's no guarantee of any more rate decreases soon, I think later this year the general feeling is there will be. So people are getting a little bit more confidence there. The inflation's coming down. There's still cost of living pressures. That's going to tamper some markets, so it's still going to be difficult for people trying to get into the Sydney or Melbourne markets. But there's some good opportunities around the country that people can get into. And I think one of the things here is that it also brings investors back into the market as well as the rates are starting to come down.
What's your advice to first home buyers?
Yeah, so as I said, I think the first thing people really need to do is go and see their mortgage broker or their bank and understand what their borrowing capacity is, and then look at what their goal is and see what they can do in terms of getting into a market. Look at their suburbs, understand the price points of properties in the suburbs that they want to buy in, if they're looking to live there or if they're looking to invest, so that they can be ahead of the game. What I do feel is that later in the year, prices will really start to move ahead. So I think we've probably got a window of about 3 or 4 months before prices really jump ahead. So I think just try to stay ahead of the game there, essentially.
How important is it for whoever is buying a property to stay realistic? And, it doesn't have to be a capital city, does it?
No, absolutely, Tim. There's some very good regional markets around in most of the states where the price points are much cheaper, and as an investor the rental yields are a lot higher. So one of the issues with the cost of living crisis at the moment is the affordability and the holding costs for a property. So if you buy in a market where there's higher rental yield, the cash flow will be better, the holding costs will be lower on the property, and that's a great way to get onto the ladder as well. So I think looking away from some of the capital cities and looking into these regional markets and doing a lot of research around those markets.
Not dissimilar to how people might start one university degree to go to another. You can buy a property in an area which you're not going to live in, and it can help you get to the property you want.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's called rent vesting, and I work with a lot of people who do that. And so essentially, you can live where you need to live or close to work, where you just pay rent on the property you're living in, and then you can go and buy a cheaper property for investment purposes in an area that you can afford to, and you'll still get the growth and the yields on that property as long as you've got a well-chosen location. And over time, that growth, you can leverage that into getting into your dream home later on, and it's a great way for people to get into the market. And that's essentially what I talk a lot about in my book, in that you don't need to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in deposit to get into a market. You can get into a property with a much less deposit if you're looking in those regional locations.
In 10 seconds, quick mention of the book and where people can find it.
It's Positively Geared. It's available online on Amazon or in all good bookshops.
Good on you. Lloyd, have a good weekend.
Thanks, Tim. You too.